Welcome to the Porsche Experience Center in Leipzig. This is a special place for our Porsche brand. Not only the birthplace of the Macan and the Panamera, but of course also in the past to legendary cars such as the Carrera GT. Next to the production facilities, we also have a brilliant racetrack at our hands here in Leipzig, and let's have a more detailed look what this track is all about. Going down the start-finish straight, first of all, of course, we can see the Porsche Diamond, beautiful building on our left-hand side, accompanying us on our trip around the racetrack here. Also the pit lane garages on your left-hand side. Diving into the first section of corners, the Suzuka SS. Fast, flowing, what all the Formula One drivers loves about Suzuka, you guys can find here. Fast, flowing corners, traveling in with a lot of speed, carrying momentum, but also managing small undulations in the track. So we can see we are running over a little bit over a crest. Being careful with steering inputs, being careful with longitudinal inputs is what it's all about. Feeling how the car navigates the track, as we also use a little bit of curbs on the entry and, for example, throughout the left-hander here. Down into our cornering section called the Sunset Bend. It is all about getting the traction down and opening up the steering as we go through the long sweeping right-hander, the Sunset Bend. Takes us down the back straight, down to the corner called Löws. Very, very high speed, over 225, 230 kilometers an hour in our 911 GT3 RS. Hard on the brakes, using against the reference marker boards, 100 meters, 150 meters, 200 meters, gives us a good reference for where to brake, depending on the conditions, depending on the cars, depending on your gut feeling. Slowing it down to the Löws corner, named after the famous corner in Monaco. This is a very tight right-hand corner, and we navigate it in a special way. So we do a late turn-in, a late apex. Why is it so important with a late apex? Because the end of it goes over the crest. So we can see here, there's a little bit of an undulation in the track. So we need to have a late apex in order to have a straight car on the exit. We can see how the driver in this case is also balancing the throttle just to maintain the minimum speed in the corner, making sure that we're not slowing down too much, balancing the throttle, opening up the steering, and then rolling onto the throttle, utilizing the track width down towards the Victoria turn. Victoria, very similar actually in some ways to Löws corner, but in this case with the driver here taking actually a very different approach. A little bit of a V-line is chosen in this case. We can see diving into the corner on the brakes, cutting into the corner, one apex, turning the car into the corner, bringing it back to a second apex, accelerating out, utilizing every bit of exit there is. Very different line comparing Löws and Victoria. Both corners can be taken traditionally, or you can vary, as we can see here with the Victoria turn, V-shaped line, meaning two apexes. What is the benefit? We rotate the car, we utilize the traction, we get the power down, and we have a straight exit. Straight exit is good in this case because we have a little bit of a stretch down to what we call the Mobile S. Mobile S, where was that taken from? Well, it was actually taken from a former track layout at the Nürburgring Grand Prix track. It's not existing today, but it still exists at our track in Leipzig. So here you can feel how it was to navigate back in the days at the Nürburgring. Going into it, it's a nice right-left-hand combination, flat curbs on the inside, so we can use them, of course, as long as we're staying at least with one wheel on track, better two. Managing also the curbs here is quite easy. They're rather flat, but again, we should make sure that we're not too aggressive, not to destabilize the car too much. The left-hand corner, exactly the same, making sure we remain with two wheels, guys. I think it looks good. Driver is balanced throttle, focusing on the exit. Let's see how it goes, shall we? All right, using it every centimeter of the exit, maybe in my opinion a little bit too much. And we can actually also see that it's on the very limit. The driver is counter steering on the exit. So this is definitely a little bit, let's say, on the limit. If we are too aggressive here, we also have to watch out for one thing regarding safety. Oversteer here would mean that the car would turn into to the left-hand side. There's not a lot of room to the Armco, so we have to be careful and respectful with the exit of this Mobile S chicane. Oh yeah, we can see the instabilities, making sure that we stay safe. Into what we call Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2, taking from Monza into our bus stop. We have a bus stop chicane. The approach will take us over the curbs, massively over the curbs, cutting the entry, hard on the brakes, straight steering, diving in to the bus stop chicane, turning the car, and same approach on the exit, trying to cut over the curb here also in the end, making sure that we stay on the black stuff and not on the green stuff. Right, coming up to the final corners, Suntory here in Leipzig. Very, very important that we find the right line. We can see we're hugging the inside here in this case, and we need to also use our eyes to look towards the secondary apex, which we should be aiming for, rotating the car and accelerating out. That's the mission. But before we do that, we have to slow down. Doing that in the corner is always a little bit tricky. Still, the driver is trying to stabilize the back end of the car with a little bit of throttle input. I like it, but he or she has to be slowing down anytime soon. So here we go. As soon as the car is off the curb, straighten out the steering, on the brakes, slowing it down, hugging the inside, turning the car back on the throttle, shooting out on the apex, and then back on to start finish. What a ride, what a thrill. You guys are gonna love it. See you at the Porsche Experience Center in Leipzig.